We're starting off this morning with some good news. There are no new coronavirus cases to report, and more than 400 people have recovered from the virus. That leaves us with about 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases. 2 of those are currently active. Lewis and Clark County has 16 confirmed, but just like Cascade County, only 2 of those are active. Toole County has 29 reported cases, and Glacier County has 6. Today, Phase 1 reopenings continue. Restaurants, bars, casinos, and breweries will be open again for business with some of those restrictions. Again, this is part of that Phase 1 reopening, capacity limited to 50%, and they have to practice some social distancing here as far as where people sit. And you'll look at this time here, they have to wrap up by 11:30 p.m. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt spoke with 2 Great Falls bars about their plans to keep the customers both social and distanced.
Over a month of no social drinking in Montana is about as uncommon as the pandemic the nation is facing. Ask any bar owner in Great Falls and they'll tell you.
We've never been in this position before.
I have great-grandparents and grandparents who were in the bar business, and nobody has ever seen anything like this.
Bar manager of 8 years, Diana Olson, and bar managing legacy, Lexi Jones, are both learning to adapt to a barred bar scene.
We're just gonna play it by ear. I'm not really sure how this is all gonna work out.
There's been lots of changes, lots of talks, lots of setting tables, moving them, trying to do what's best for our customers, and also get us open.
Both managers are committed to playing by the rules. Cowboys bar customers will complete a temperature and ID check upon entry and stay seated while in the facility, drinking from plastic cups throughout the night.
I do have signage. I do have signage with the rules, the new stipulations and regulations, our new hours, and we're going to be really strict about it.
Do bar goers will also use plastic cups and will sanitize their hands after each drink order and sit while in the building, either at a table by the bar, outside on the patio, or in the casino.
We have buckets with bleach sanitizer. Anytime anybody's moving or leaving a table, their spot will be sanitized. And we also have hand sanitizers for all of our employees, so as they take a drink order, they're actually going to sanitize everybody's hands.
But it won't be all rules and rigmarole. There will be mingling.
People don't have to stay with the groups they came with, so we will ask people to get to a table and sit down, but they may be seated with people that they didn't come with.
And music.
I was thinking about, instead of doing karaoke, maybe doing just DJs so people could at least request music that they want to hear.
After more than a month of empty bar stools, these bar managers are excited to see their regulars return.
A lot of them have been contacting me, messaging me, are you open? So I expect we'll get quite a few people back.
I know a lot of people want to get back out and see some faces and get a chance to kind of socialize a little bit. So we're really excited for that, and we know that a lot of our loyal patrons are excited too.
In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
According to Governor Bullock's Phase 1 reopening guidelines, all bars will have to close by 11:30 p.m. and follow social distancing guidelines. For more details on these stipulations, you can head to our website. The coronavirus has killed more than 67,000 Americans. That's according to the latest figures from Johns Hopkins. During a town hall on Fox News last night, President Trump acknowledged the growing death toll, but also encouraged states to continue reopening. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
President Trump says the projected death toll from the coronavirus pandemic is rising.
I used to say 65,000, and now I'm saying 80 or 90, and it goes up, and it goes up rapidly.
During a virtual town hall on Fox News, President Trump said a vaccine could be available by the end of the year, even though his medical experts say it'll likely take longer.
The doctors would say, well, you shouldn't say that. I'll say what I think.
The president's former FDA commissioner, Scott Gottlieb, says the death toll is rising because mitigation hasn't worked as well as hoped.
We expected that we would start seeing more significant declines in new cases and deaths around the nation at this point, and we're just not seeing that.
White House response coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx chastised the protesters who've been pressuring states to reopen.
It's devastatingly worrisome to me personally, because if they go home and infect their grandmother or their grandfather who has a comorbid condition and they have a serious or an unfortunate outcome, they will feel guilty for the rest of our lives.
President Trump has left reopening up to the governors, but said certain states aren't moving fast enough.
I really believe you can go to parks, you can go to beaches, you keep it, you keep the spread, you stay away a certain amount.
Some say acting too quickly could be deadly.
You go back to your old behavior, that number goes right back up.
Sadly, we had far more people die yesterday in Maryland than we had protesters.
Governors have asked for about $500 billion in aid from Washington to cushion the financial fallout. Ian Lee, CBS News.
During the town hall, President Trump said he wouldn't support any new relief packages without a payroll tax cut. An intelligence report from the Department of Homeland Security suggests Chinese leaders hid the severity of the coronavirus to stock up on medical supplies. The 4-page report, dated May 1st, was just obtained by the Associated Press. The news outlet recently released its own report detailing critical virus information that China sat on for days. The DHS analysis states that while Chinese leaders downplayed the severity of COVID-19, the country increased imports of medical equipment and decreased exports. Right now, there's no public evidence to suggest it was an intentional plot. Switzerland-based drug maker Roche says the FDA has given emergency use approval for its COVID-19 antibody test. Roche says it's nearly 100% accurate. The pharmaceutical giant says it will ramp up production capacity to high double-digit millions per month to countries around the world that want it. The nation's nursing homes have accounted for 20,000 coronavirus deaths, and now they're hoping to stop a potential flood of lawsuits. There's a lobbying effort for states to grant homes emergency protection from claims of inadequate care. The lobbying group says the COVID crisis created unpredictable circumstances beyond their control. They list shortages of protective equipment and testing. Right now, there are at least 15 states that provide some sort of protection for nursing homes and long-term care facilities. The United States has been hit hard by coronavirus with more than 60,000 deaths. But before it came to America, the disease ravaged Europe. MTN's Tim McGonigal spoke with a Montana man living just outside of Madrid who's been hunkered down now for weeks.
You know, Spain is a very loud place normally.
Matt Nelson and his family have lived in Spain for nearly 7 years. Matt is a missionary with International Media Ministries. He's still adjusting to how much things have changed in such a short time due to coronavirus.
People are very physically close. When you greet someone, you give them 2 kisses. Obviously, all of that's gone right now, and everyone's basically confined to their homes for the last 46 days or so.
Last week, the country began lifting restrictions, starting with letting kids spend an hour outdoors each day.
We really like being outside. Before this, we spent a lot of time outside riding our bikes, hiking around the trails that are around our town. And so this has been a difficult adjustment to be inside all the time.
The country has had more than 200,000 confirmed cases, resulting in almost 25,000 deaths, one of the highest mortality rates per capita in the world.
So most people are taking it very seriously, staying home.
Matt's wife Rachel, who celebrated her 40th birthday in quarantine, is a registered nurse. Ironically, her visa won't allow her to work in that field in Spain. One family member is allowed to get groceries and prescriptions and go to the bank. Like many overseas, they've been keeping tabs on what's happening back in the United States.
Spaniards really do pay attention to American politics, and they all seem to have an opinion. Those are times I find it really handy to pretend I don't speak Spanish.
Through technology, they've been able to keep in touch with family members in Great Falls, Choteau, and Cascade.
When we see how serious this virus has been, and it hit here before it really got serious in the States, I maybe surprised my family a little bit, freaked them out a little bit to say, keep the grandkids away from the grandparents, all that kind of thing.
In Great Falls, Tim McGonigal, MTN News.
Matt says having a healthy routine has helped him and his family through this outbreak.
Cancer patients are dealing with double the concern during the coronavirus outbreak, dealing with treatment and knowing they may be more vulnerable to the virus. I'm Wendy Gillette with how doctors are taking precautions.
And later in your weather forecast, not a bad start to the week. A little bit windy, a little bit cooler compared to where we've been, sitting at 34 right now in Great Falls, 38 in the capital. But as the day plays out, relatively clear skies, temperatures pretty on track with normal. More on your forecast coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back. It's about 5:14 here on your Monday morning. Well, many doctors' offices all across the country have shut down during the coronavirus outbreak, but treatment for cancer patients has not stopped despite some of the risks. CBS News correspondent Wendy Gillette reports on how facilities are handling COVID-19.
54-year-old Christine Dare makes a nearly weekly visit to the Lindenberg Cancer Center in Marlton, New Jersey, for treatment of Hodgkin's lymphoma and an immune system disorder. But these days, there's another level of anxiety.
How concerned are you that you're going to get the coronavirus?
Very concerned. I don't want to be around other people because I really don't want to catch it, because I know most likely I'll end up in the hospital. And that's a very scary thought in my book.
Dare wears an N95 mask when she goes out. At the cancer center, Dr. Noah Lindenberg and all other staff wear full personal protective equipment. Other precautions include limiting visitors, sanitizing rooms after each patient, and minimizing in-person appointments. The American Cancer Society estimates almost 5,000 new cases of cancer will be diagnosed every day in the U.S. this year. And cancer cases don't slow down because of a pandemic.
For many of these patients, they really need to get their treatments, and that's been my commitment.
Dare's concerns extend to her home.
This has become my bedroom, and my husband sleeps on the couch.
Her husband, Jim, is a bus foreman, an essential worker who helps people get to their jobs, bringing the threat of the virus into their house.
We can't touch, we can't hug, we can't sleep in the same bed. In the kitchen, I do my thing, he does his thing, and we have to be a lot more careful.
Despite the challenges, Dare says she feels supported.
The biggest things are my family and my faith.
And last week, she got the news from her doctor she had been hoping for. She's in remission. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
In some other health news this morning, bright-colored warning labels on alcohol may lead people to cut down on drinking. Researchers in Canada placed 3 different messages on bottles, including warnings of a link between alcohol and cancer. The study found a nearly 7% drop in alcohol sales in areas where those labels were used. And a Chinese startup is selling these high-tech glasses that can measure temperatures without contact. Rokid has already sold 1,000 pairs to governments, parks, and schools. Those glasses have an infrared sensor and camera to help screen for symptoms of COVID-19. The East Helena Boy Scouts here at home are raising money for summer camp by selling their annual picnic tables, but they're doing it a little bit differently during this outbreak. Here's MTN's Alexia Guayo with more.
The Troop 212 Boy Scouts put in hands-on work to build these picnic tables. ROI Timber donated the wood. Local businesses donated the hardware for the boys to build and sell these tables to fundraise various activities such as summer camp.
It's important that we continue to do this because we need these funds to be able to continue to function as a troop. I think it's important that we are able to do that.
Troop 212 cannot meet because of the pandemic, so what they're doing is dropping off materials for each scout to build a part of the table on their own. So now scouts, with the guidance of their families, are individually building these tables.
I feel pretty lucky because I don't think most people will be able to build picnic tables by themselves with their dads.
The boys got to work with their families and do a lot of one-on-one with mom and dad, putting the tables together and learning a lot of skills that maybe the parents don't have the time to teach, but now it's kind of forced upon.
The troops and their families made 40 tables total as of Sunday. By this time in 2019, Troop 212 said they had 60 tables sold. As of Sunday, only 20 tables have been sold so far.
Usually we have a large component of businesses buy tables, and with the businesses being shut down and their future unknown, they haven't made the large purchases that they normally make by this time. So we're hoping with the orders starting to resend and the people are able to start getting back to work that we'll start seeing some of those business orders come in.
In East Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
One table costs $225 and will help fund the Scouts' trip to Yellowstone should it reopen this summer.
And up next to your weather forecast, not a bad start to the week. A little bit cool and kind of windy today. We're seeing the winds kick up out of the southwest, 13 miles per hour in Great Falls. Clear skies throughout and looking at the low to mid 30s. As for yesterday's almanac, we did hit 61, right on track with average in Great Falls. Today we'll see those temperatures climb yet again into the low 60s. 60 degrees was the high yesterday in the capital, and a little bit cooler with highs in the 60s today as well. Your forecast is next.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Jason Laird.
Good morning, friends. Coming off a great weekend here. Starting out a little bit chilly, though. 34 degrees in Great Falls at this hour, 38 in the capital. Couple of showers just moving out of the state into the Dakotas. And overall today, we're going to be tracking plenty of high pressure. That's going to keep skies clear and a beautiful day on tap. Temperatures right on track, maybe a little bit below seasonal averages today. We're going to see daytime highs at about 61 in Great Falls, 62 in the capital, mid-60s throughout the eastern plains, but the trade-off, a little bit of wind today as that ridge of high pressure builds in. We'll likely see wind gusts kick up around the noon hour. Probably going to be breezy this morning, but strongest winds, I would say, between 11 and noon, about 20 to 30 miles per hour in the terms of wind gusts, and about 30 to 40 in north central Montana. Pretty strong wind gusts again this afternoon, but they should taper off this evening, making way for just kind of a breezy overnight. 33 for your overnight low, so I don't think you'll have to cover the plants. Very close, though. 32 in Lewistown as well. A little bit warmer there along the High Line and northeastern Montana, staying in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, a little bit of wind, but really the big change is that wind is going to shift more into the eastern plains. So Lewistown, you'll likely get a little bit windier tomorrow. And then again, those eastern plains are really going to see the majority of the wind on Tuesday. We'll see highs on Tuesday at about 65 degrees in Great Falls, 67 in the capital, a couple of 70s trying to break in west of the divide, and looking at the low 60s in eastern Montana. And come Wednesday, we'll continue to move those temperatures up a couple of notches, flirting with the 70s for a good chunk of Montana, and into north central Montana with the high 60s there as well. So the reason behind that big high pressure ridge that's building in the first half of this week. Unfortunately, it's not going to stick around, though. We are going to track some North Pacific moisture. That's going to meet up with some colder air Wednesday night into Thursday. So likely Wednesday afternoon, and then overnight we're going to see some showers, transition to more thunderstorms, and a couple of lingering showers on Thursday. Not bad, though. Then a nice high pressure ridge is going to rebuild as we head into the weekend. Here's how that translates over the next 7 days for us. Windy today, 61. Temperatures continue to climb through Wednesday. And then a couple of thunder boomers rolling through the state and transitioning to kind of lingering showers on Thursday. But right now it looks like we're going to warm back up just in time for next weekend. 62 degrees today in the capital with some wind, warming up nicely Tuesday, Wednesday, and a couple of showers returning to the forecast. Shannon?
All right, thanks, Jason. It's 5:24 on your Monday morning. Still to come on Montana this morning. As if 2020 hasn't been weird enough already, a dangerous species of hornet has been found in the northwest U.S. We'll have details on the murder hornet. That's its name. Up next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Welcome back. It's 5:27 now on your Monday morning. This image, if you're just looking at your screen, should wake you up a little bit.
Good morning to you, too.
It's a dangerous species of hornet that has been spotted here in the U.S. Get this, they're actually called murder hornets. They're native to Asia.
That's what's going to happen if one comes near me, I'll tell you that much.
At more than 2 inches long, they're the world's largest.
Yeah, beekeepers in Washington state have reported piles of dead bees with, I'm not kidding, their heads literally ripped off.
Gosh.
Now, this is the country's bee population, or as the country's bee population dwindles. Now, the murder hornets are also dangerous to humans. Scientists say multiple stings are deadly to people, even if they're not allergic. Now, agricultural officials are hoping to contain the murder hornet to Washington state and wipe it out. But if you do see one, make sure you report it and don't try to kill it yourself. I'm killing it myself. Period. I'll call after the fact. I don't care. If that thing's flying at my face, it's dead.
Yeah. Can 2020 get weirder,
No.
though?
No, it can't. It can't. First, we have some weird pandemic. Now we have murder hornet. Where did they come from?
It says they're from Asia.
Asia.
But I don't know how
What, do they fly across
appeared.
the ocean?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how they appeared now in Washington
I mean, we haven't
state.
had any trade really going on, right? I mean, there's not really a lot of boats going back and forth.
Right. I don't know. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, of how they ended up in Washington.
I mean,
but Washington is not far away from us.
No, I hate hornets anyway. That's one of those creatures that, like, what a useless species.
Right. Bees, fantastic.
Bees all day long. Great.
Hornets,
What good do they do?
Especially murder hornets. They
What
kill
do
the
they do?
bees.
Yeah, stupid hornets. They're all gonna die. Anyways, water levels really starting to trend a little bit high along the Rocky Mountain front. No advisories, watches, warnings out in the term of flooding here this morning, but something we'll keep an eye on. Well, if you do want to fire up the boat, check it out Fort Peck for our boating forecast today. Tracking the low 60s. A little bit of chop out there, though. Kind of windy, mostly sunny skies, wind out of the west 14 to 18 miles per hour. Over the next couple of days, 61 degrees in Great Falls today with the high 60s by Wednesday. However, we are tracking a little batch of moisture. That's going to roll in late Wednesday into Thursday.
All right, don't go away. There's more news ahead in just 1 minute. It's 5:30 now on this Monday, May 4th, 2020. Happening today, some encouraging news on the coronavirus front to start off our week. Plus, phase 1 reopenings continue. Bars, restaurants, and casinos are all back in business. We'll look at what it takes to reopen with restrictions. And coming up later, billions of dollars are going into SNAP benefits. We'll look at the potential long-term impact.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Good morning to you. We're happy to have you with us on this May 4th, Star Wars Day. I'm Shannon Newth, filling in for a while for Keely Van Mittendorp, joined as always by Jason Laird here this morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful start. I'm looking at the iCam behind you. It's a beautiful start to the day
nice
so
little
far.
sunrise out there. Not too. Oh, we can't see Jupiter or Saturn anymore, though. That was out early this morning.
Yeah, getting lighter earlier and earlier, though.
It is. It's kind of nice, though, you know, waking up with a little bit of light. I hate it going to bed because it's nearly impossible to go to bed.
Well, I love the sunshine so much that it's almost like comforting to me.
You can fall asleep with the sunshine?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I like it,
That's got to be pitch
actually.
black. Blackout curtains, the whole 9 yards. I can't do it. Nope. Well, allergy forecast today, kind of bumping things up a couple of notches with the pollen and trees, alder, juniper, and elm. And as we were just talking about, beautiful sunrise out there, sitting at 34 degrees, so a little bit brisk this morning. Some wind out of the west-southwest at about 13 miles per hour. Opportunity Bank ICAM sitting at 38 degrees right now. Some wind, and we will see the wind kick up today. And warmer temperatures move in through Wednesday, but some showers and thunderstorms returning to the forecast. We'll talk about that incoming system very shortly. Shannon?
All right, thanks, Jason. We're starting off this half hour with some good news. There are no new coronavirus cases to report, and more than 400 people have recovered from the virus, leaving us with 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases. Just 2 of those are currently active. Same story for Lewis and Clark County, 16 confirmed cases and 2 currently active. Toole County has 29 reported cases. Glacier County has 6. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases across the nation has passed 3.5 million, across the world has surpassed 3.5 million, with nearly 250,000 deaths. In a televised virtual town hall from the Lincoln Memorial, President Trump said he thinks a vaccine will be available by the end of the year. U.S. public health officials have said a vaccine is likely in a year to about 18 months. The president also says his administration will release a report this week detailing what he was briefed on in early January as the virus was emerging. Here at home today, phase 1 reopenings continue. Restaurants, bars, casinos, and breweries will all be open again for business with restrictions. A month of no social drinking in Montana, about as uncommon as an outbreak that the nation is facing. Bar owners and managers are figuring out the best ways to reopen while still following those social distancing guidelines. Cowboys Bar in Great Falls will do a temperature and ID check of customers when they walk in, have people stay seated in the facility, and use plastic cups. Bar goers will also use plastic cups and will sanitize their hands after each drink order and will sit while in the building, either at a table or by the bar or outside on the patio or casino. According to Governor Bullock's phase 1 reopening guidelines, all bars will have to close by 11:30 p.m. and follow social distancing guidelines. We have more on those instructions and stipulations on our website. Well, it's a huge chunk of money every month, $2 billion more to the federal government's SNAP program. And while that helps with uncertainty caused by coronavirus, how long will that boost continue? Chris Stewart is looking into the impact as our country works to rebound.
Life can change in an instant. Jenny Showalter can tell you that.
I'm a single mom of two. I have a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old. I basically became a single mom of two overnight. Their father passed away end of October 2018.
She can also tell you about being a single mom, looking for work in a pandemic with 2 kids now home around the clock.
It's impossible to have hours enough to pay my bills, to pay my rent, to pay my car insurance, to put food on the table, to buy diapers, buy wipies. I mean, there's so many things that a single mother has to buy daily, weekly, monthly, that food is nearly impossible anymore.
That's why she is one of the estimated 36 million Americans on SNAP. With coronavirus hurting businesses and putting people out of work nationwide, the government is giving SNAP an emergency boost, increasing monthly benefits by 40%.
There's no living high off the hog whenever you're on SNAP benefits.
Amy Jo Hutchinson has lived in poverty all her life. She used to be on SNAP herself.
I also read that each senator has authorized $40,000 for state office furniture and furnishings, and this amount is increased each year to reflect inflation. That $40,000 a year for furniture is $360 more than the federal poverty guidelines for a family of 7.
In February, her congressional testimony on poverty in America went viral.
So shame on you. Shame on you, and shame on me, and shame on each and every one of us who haven't rattled the windows of these buildings with cries of outrage at a government that thinks their office furniture is worthy of $40,000 a year and families and children aren't.
Earlier this year, the White House proposed 2021 budget called for $181 billion in cuts to SNAP over the next decade. The USDA planned to put in stricter work requirements to receive benefits, a move then they said would encourage recipients to move towards self-sufficiency. But that was then. Coronavirus is now. While those cuts and changes are still included in the proposed budget, the Department of Agriculture sent us a statement saying, in part, the agency will be as flexible as it can be moving forward. In a time advocates see as an example of why SNAP is important. Whether you're a single mom of 2,
I'll just bluntly straight truth. We wouldn't have any food on the table.
or someone struggling, now looking for help you never thought you would need.
One of the biggest takeaways that I'm seeing is that the safety net is actually acting as a safety net, right? I mean, it's catching people who have typically never had to rely on assistance.
It's 5:37 now on your Monday morning. Coming up, a new way to connect with Montana's agricultural community. We'll tell you more about a new podcast.
And later in your weather forecast, not a bad week to hit out and head out. Grab the fishing pole, something along those lines. Monday, Tuesday looking pretty good. Today we're going to be in the low 60s, a little bit of wind. Wednesday, Thursday, that's where we're going to see a couple of showers and thunderstorms return to the forecast. More on your detailed forecast coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
It's about 20 minutes now to the top of the hour, 5:40 here on your Monday. Farmers who are interested in growing pulse crops now have an opportunity to learn more through a new podcast series titled Growing Pulse Crops. With more on what that podcast series will be covering and how farmers can download it, here's the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nimitz.
Well, as more farmers across our region become interested in raising pulse crops like chickpeas, peas, and lentils, the Pulse Crop Working Group saw an opportunity to reach more farmers through a new podcast series titled Growing Pulse Crops.
We got together with a group of farmers who are all members of the Northern Pulse Growers Association, as well as USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council, and we wanted to know from them, what's the best format in which to deliver, research findings, and just bring this information to a broader audience. And, to be honest, the Pulse Crops podcast wasn't even on my mind at the time. That had not even occurred to me, even though I listen to and enjoy several different podcast series. But that was something people, the farmers in particular, brought up, that they listen to podcasts, on long drives or, in the tractor. And they find that to be a really great way to listen to information.
Hosted by Tim Hammerich, the series will follow pulse crop farmers through the growing season and dive into the research that's helping them through some of the challenges they face.
You know, we're talking about issues and decisions you're making kind of as the season goes. So the episodes are designed to be concurrent with what folks are doing during the growing season. So right now, you know, we're talking about the pre-emergence herbicides, we're talking about seed treatment choices, and we're also visiting with growers during the series so we can bring in, you know, folks that maybe are new to pulse crops, hear what other farmers are doing.
Now, if you'd like to receive the podcast on your cell phone, all you have to do is subscribe to the series through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or, of course, any other podcatcher app. In Billings, Russell Nemitz, MTN News.
Tracking a little bit of a cool morning throughout north central Montana, but conditions continue to trend on track with average. We're looking at 34 right now in Great Falls, 38. Some wind is expected to return here as the morning plays out, so right around 9 a.m. if you wanted to hit the links. Plenty of sunshine this morning, but as you notice, the wind really starting to kick up as the day plays out. Not quite as much wind in the capital, but still kind of breezy and or windy later this afternoon. More details on today's forecast coming up.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Jason Laird.
5:46 on your Monday morning, just 14 away from 6 o'clock and sitting at 34 degrees right now in Great Falls. Starting to see the wind kind of kick up throughout north central Montana today, but not too terribly bad. We'll be tracking a couple of clouds this morning. Those clouds are going to continue to clear up as the day plays out, but overall, not a bad start to the day. Again, just a little bit cool throughout the area. As we take a look here at your future track, again, high pressure is going to build across the area, leaving for hardly a cloud in the sky. Really, the only trade-off today is going to be some wind. We're going to see highs in about 61 in Great Falls, 62 in the capital, and looking at the mid-60s as we head off into the eastern plains. Again, wind kind of a talking point, kicking up this morning by around 11 a.m., 20 to 30 miles per hour in Great Falls, 30 to 40 in north central Montana. We'll continue to see some wind this afternoon, kind of dying down and shifting a little bit further east overnight. Overnight lows still chilly. We'll be right on the edge of having to throw a blanket on the plants tonight if you got the flowers in the ground. 33 in Great Falls, looking at the high 30s in northeastern Montana. So just kind of keep an eye on that. If you don't have the Storm Tracker weather app, you can get that hour by hour forecast for this evening. With that said, wind tomorrow, not quite as bad, at least for central Montana. We'll see a lot of the heavier wind gusts kind of shift over into eastern Montana and southeastern Montana as the day plays out. On Tuesday, a little bit warmer. 65 is kind of the magic number for a good chunk of the locations. 67 in the capital, and looking at the 60s off into the eastern plains. By Wednesday, continuing to warm those temperatures up as high pressure builds across the area. Unfortunately, this high pressure ridge isn't going to stick with us too terribly long. It's going to move on out Wednesday, and you notice a batch of moisture off of the North Pacific is going to move in. That's going to meet up with a cold front overnight Wednesday. Could kick off some mountain snow, but mostly just rain into the plains. A couple of lingering showers expected on Thursday, but by Friday, a huge ridge of high pressure is going to build in. That one looks to be pretty strong. There's the slightest potential of a little batch of moisture on Saturday, but I think this ridge is going to block a lot of that out. We'll keep you up to date as we get a little bit closer to the weekend. So with that said, over the next 7 days, 61 and windy today, warming up through Wednesday before some afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms move in, kind of sticking with us through Thursday there with a couple of lingering showers. But overall, as we wrap up the work week, it's going to be the mid-60s and warmer this weekend. Shannon?
All right, thanks so much, Jason. It is 5:48 here on your Monday morning. Well, coming up, we're looking at a recipe that many people have turned to during this time of quarantine. Montana This Morning continues right after this.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's news leader.
Thanks for joining us on Montana This Morning. 5:51, just 9 away from the top of your 6 o'clock hour, and many people have picked up or new or old hobbies actually during the whole quarantine craziness. But there's one thing that seems to stand out, and that's baking banana bread.
Yeah, in the last month, it's been the most searched recipe in the United States. Everything from the classic loaf to some new vegan twists. Baking banana bread gained widespread popularity in the U.S. actually during the Great Depression.
Historians say that's because the fruit was cheap and easy to buy. And psychologists say that the smell of baking banana bread can also trigger a sense of comfort and familiarity.
Familiarity.
Why can I not say it? It's the Invisalign. I'm blaming
Yeah, there you
I can't
go.
get the out. Anyways, of the childhood for many.
Yeah, we didn't have it a ton.
Familiarity.
We baked things and stuff, but banana bread was not one of our
Oh, really?
things that we made all the time, but I love banana bread. And I think there's something to that, like the fresh bake, like whether it's cookies, banana bread, it's just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, it was usually pumpkin bread for us, but
Ooh,
periodically we'd get the banana bread fired up. And I think it's just because, like, not only is it baking, it's got that kind of sweet aroma,
right?
You know, which just makes it that much better.
You know, I'll buy bananas. I end up eating like one maybe, and then I'm like, oh, I should put these in the freezer, save them for later, and then I never actually make it.
So I need to in the freezer.
Right? Isn't that what you do? Yeah, Ashley's nodding. Yes, like you can put the bananas in the freezer, then in order to then save them to make banana bread.
Did not know that.
Yes, but I don't make it, but I apparently know that much of it. So yeah.
There you go. Okay. New to me. Well, just kind of rechecking that allergy forecast here this morning. A little bit high in the terms of tree pollens today. Weed and grass, not too bad, but something to kind of keep in the back of your mind here as the wind kicks up, especially that kind of dries things out and kicks up the allergy pollens and whatnot. Plenty of sunshine to go around today. It is going to be a little bit cooler. Well, not really. I guess we're right on track with average. Not too bad. 30s this morning and then well into the 40s and 50s. So daytime highs, not a bad one. Going to see about 61 degrees in Great Falls. We'll continue to warm up through Wednesday before our next weather maker moves in. That being late in the day, showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday. Probably taking us into Thursday as well, but overall not a bad forecast. Get out and enjoy it.
All right, your Farm and Ranch report with the Montana Ag Network is coming up next. It's 6 o'clock now on this Monday, May 4th, 2020. Happening now, Phase 1 reopenings continue. Bars, restaurants, and casinos are back in business. We'll look at what it takes to reopen with restrictions. Plus,
as governors work to reopen states, President Trump is weighing in. Lee with his message amid the growing death toll.
And later, Montanans heard from the candidates for governor this weekend. We'll recap their debate. Montana This Morning starts now.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
Good morning to you. I'm Shannon Newth. I'll be spending some time with you here on Montana This Morning as Keely Van Mittendorf works on some special projects. Joined as always by Jason Laird this morning on this Monday, May 4th, Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
Jason, may the 4th be with you. Since I don't have.
Do they use wands or are you going with lightsaber?
It's a lightsaber.
Okay, well, you got to be more definitive if it's a lightsaber.
Well,
you can't like.
This is all I have.
Looks like you're doing like something at like a Cher concert or whatever with the lighter. Like.
Yeah, it's just my clicker. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, lightsabers more like definitive.
Oh, okay. When did you become the Star Wars expert?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're going to use a lightsaber, you got to be more definitive about it.
Okay.
Right? Beautiful sunrise in Great Falls. Kind of chilly, though. Just stepped outside, and, yeah, a little bite in the air. That wind's got just enough bite, making it feel a little colder than it actually is. 35, though, actual air temperature. Opportunity Bank ICAM in the capital, sitting at 37 degrees. You got to hurry up, Shannon. Ashley's trying to set the camera
I'm sorry, I'm here.
My goodness. 37. And Lincoln sitting at about 33 degrees. Clancy, 27 right now. See, now we're over time. See? Carter's going to yell at us because we're over our time already. Mild and breezy today. Warmer by Wednesday. However, some showers return to the forecast. We'll tell you about it shortly. Shannon.
You took more time explaining how we were over time. All right. Thanks, Jason. We're starting off this half hour with some good news this morning. There are no new coronavirus cases to report today. And more than 400 people have recovered from the virus, leaving us with 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases, but only 2 are currently active. Lewis and Clark County, similar story there, 16 confirmed cases, but only 2 are active. Toole County has 29, Glacier County has 6 cases. Today, Phase 1 reopenings continue. Restaurants, bars, casinos, and breweries will be open for business once again, but with some restrictions. It's been about a month without any social drinking at bars. The nation is, as the nation is facing this outbreak, bar owners and managers are figuring out some of the best ways to reopen while still following social distancing guidelines. Cowboys Bar in Great Falls will do a temperature and ID check of customers when they walk in, have people stay seated in the facility, and use plastic cups. Bar goers will also use plastic cups and will sanitize their hands after each drink order and will sit while in the building, either at a table or by the bar, outside on the patio, or in the casino. According to Governor Bullock's Phase 1 reopening guidelines, all bars will have to close by 11:30 p.m. and follow social distancing guidelines. We have more details on all of those stipulations on our website. Some Montana gym owners have started a petition in an attempt to convince Governor Bullock to allow gyms to reopen under Phase 1. One gym owner from Billings created the petition about a week ago and already has close to 5,000 signatures. MTN spoke with the manager at Crossroads Fitness Center, a supporter of the petition. Crossroads argues that gyms can implement the necessary safety guidelines to help prevent further spread of the virus. Changes include eliminating some equipment to make sure clients are away from each other when working out. They will also mark floors to indicate proper social distancing and have temperature checks at the front door.
Where do you go where you grab a sterilization bottle and sterilize your own piece of equipment? Only a gym. I have not seen anybody at this grocery stores or anywhere else sterilizing anything after I touch it. So I just feel like this is a safe place, sterile place to be.
Under the current plan, gyms are not allowed to open until Phase 2. Across the world, coronavirus has killed more than 67,000 Americans. That's the latest figures from Johns Hopkins. And during a town hall on Fox News last night, President Trump acknowledged the growing death toll, but encouraged states to continue reopening. CBS's Ian Lee has the latest.
President Trump says the projected death toll from the coronavirus pandemic is rising.
I used to say 65,000, and now I'm saying 80 or 90, and it goes up, and it goes up rapidly.
During a virtual town hall on Fox News, President Trump said a vaccine could be available by the end of the year, even though his medical experts say it'll likely take longer.
The doctors would say, well, you shouldn't say that. I'll say what I think.
The president's former FDA commissioner, Scott Gottlieb, says the death toll is rising because mitigation hasn't worked as well as hoped.
We expected that we would start seeing more significant declines in new cases and deaths around the nation at this point, and we're just not seeing that.
White House response coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx chastised the protesters who've been pressuring states to reopen.
It's devastatingly worrisome to me personally, because if they go home and infect their grandmother or their grandfather who has a comorbid condition and they have a serious or an unfortunate outcome, they will feel guilty for the rest of our lives.
President Trump has left reopening up to the governors, but said certain states aren't moving fast enough.
I really believe you can go to parks, you can go to beaches, you keep it. You keep the spread, you stay away a certain amount.
Some say acting too quickly could be deadly.
You go back to your old behavior, that number goes right back up.
Sadly, we had far more people die yesterday in Maryland than we had protesters.
Governors have asked for about $500 billion in aid from Washington to cushion the financial fallout. Ian Lee, CBS News.
And during that town hall, President Trump said he wouldn't support any new relief packages without a payroll tax cut. Time now, 6:05 here on your Monday. Still to come on Montana This Morning. It's nearing decision time for voters. This weekend, Montanans heard from gubernatorial candidates. We have a recap of the debate.
And later in your weather forecast, we are tracking another week, or at least start to the week, of high pressure. You'll notice that colder air is going to continue to move out, and high pressure is really going to kind of take over here as we head toward Wednesday. But there is some storms in the forecast. I'll tell you more about those coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Thanks for staying with us. It's 6:08 on your Monday morning. The three Republicans running for Montana governor in the June 2nd primary election met Saturday in their only televised debate that featured all three candidates: Attorney General Tim Fox, Congressman Greg Gianforte, and State Senator Al Olszewski of Kalispell. And as MTN's Mike Dennison reports, the face-off had more than its share of sharp exchanges.
As the debate opened, Congressman Gianforte said he's run a positive campaign and urged everyone to follow Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment: speak no ill of a fellow Republican. But neither he nor Mr. Fox would toe that line this Saturday. Fox said as governor he'd be a leader who would bring people together and win in November, unlike, he said, Mr. Gianforte.
Congressman, it's clear that you were social distancing long before the pandemic hit.
You ducked debates and forums, refused interviews with the press, avoided open public meetings and tough questions, and instead used your considerable wealth to try to buy this election instead of earning those votes.
Gianforte called Fox's attacks shameful.
Let me just say, Mr. Fox's behavior is shameful. It's shameful because he's trying to manipulate and use false statements to manipulate voters.
The winner of the GOP primary takes on the Democratic nominee this fall, trying to become Montana's first Republican governor in 16 years. Olszewski mostly avoided the firing line, but said he's the best choice for Republican primary voters because he'll follow the state party platform.
I'm the only one that's going to fight for our constitutional water rights and oppose the CSKT compact, which our Republican platform says that we Republicans oppose. I'm also the only Republican that is willing to oppose and repeal Medicaid expansion.
All three candidates said they oppose a statewide sales tax, but want to reduce or revise Montana's property and income taxes. Olszewski said he'd turn to other sources of revenue to cut property taxes.
First, what we do is we take and we disconnect public education, K through 12, off of our property taxes, and we find another way to pay for them. And like Wyoming, I would like to pay for public education through our natural resources, royalties, taxes, and revenues.
Gianforte often talked up his business experience and previewed a business plan he says he's still working on.
It starts with a top-to-bottom regulatory review. It also will focus on slowing the growth of state government and use any surplus that results to reduce taxes across the board, property taxes, income taxes, business equipment taxes.
Fox called Gianforte's plan without substance and noted he already has a 15-point plan for economic recovery up on his website.
I'm a unifier. I bring people together, and we need that in a post-COVID-19 circumstance.
This is still a three-man race, but from the looks of this debate, Fox and Gianforte consider each other to be their main primary opponent. Starting next week, GOP primary voters will start sorting it all out and choosing who goes forward into the general election. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Meanwhile, the two candidates for the Democratic nomination for governor also met for a debate Saturday, and they expressed different ideas about what type of experience the next governor should have. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on the differences they highlighted.
The two Democratic candidates to become Montana's next governor have very different life stories and experiences, and both argue they're best qualified to hold on to the governor's office. Mike Cooney has spent years in public office, including as state Senate president, secretary of state, and now as lieutenant governor. He says he knows what it takes to get things done in the state.
My background, working in government, working in understanding the workings of government and the legislature, really lends itself to being an effective leader and being an effective manager of state resources. I'm very proud of my record.
Whitney Williams is a businesswoman from Missoula. She says while she doesn't have elected experience, her work has given her the skills needed to handle state government.
You know, I just think we're at a point in our history where it's time for a new generation of leadership, and I just don't agree that government experience is the only experience one can have with budgets.
Williams criticized Cooney and the Bullock administration for making millions of dollars in cuts to mental health funding during a budget crisis, and argued they should have done more to support affordable housing. Cooney defended the administration's record, saying that working together with the legislature has allowed them to achieve priorities like Medicaid expansion and infrastructure funding. He said he's been a part of Democrats' recent political victories.
You know, the first rule of Montana politics, of governing and being a real leader, is showing up. And I'm the only candidate for governor who has shown up for the big fights Democrats have fought year after year.
Williams says her campaign is the one that's looking to the future.
The challenges ahead are unlike any we've seen in our lifetime. We don't need someone whose experience is inside government. Getting folks working again and helping businesses rebuild takes energy, new ideas, and a different kind of experience.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
The state's primary election is coming up on June 2nd. Ballots for the all-mail-in primary election will be sent to all registered voters starting this Friday.
Well, up next in your weather forecast, not a bad start to the week. A little bit chilly, though, this morning. Yesterday, looking back at the weekend, right on track with average temperatures in Great Falls today. We'll continue to see temperatures climb into the 50s and maybe breaking a couple of 60s throughout the area. The capital yesterday, 60 was the magic number, a couple of degrees below the averages there. Today, though, we're going to be in the 40s, 50s, and pushing the early 60s this afternoon. More on your forecast is after the break.
Welcome back. It's 6:17 on your Monday. Thousands of people across Middle Tennessee are still without power after a strong storm on Sunday afternoon caused widespread damage. And today that means a big cleanup effort.
That's right. This was the scene in Nashville Sunday evening with crews working to clean up the mess that storms left behind. There were trees and power lines downed across the metro area. Folks are thankful that that storm was quick, but unfortunately pretty powerful.
Yeah, this comes after a tornado hit that area back in early March. Kind of remember some of that video. That seems like a long time ago now, but I'm sure as every storm moves through that area, they get a little bit nervous.
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
A recap of
well,
what
no
happened
kidding.
in
I mean, because
March.
that tornado, and then this, I'll have to call up my buddy lives down there,
Yeah.
Jeff.
See
He slept
if
through
he's
the
doing
tornado.
okay.
I call him. I'm
Oh,
like,
did he
you know,
really?
oh yeah, you know, former weather guy for
Yeah.
MTN. And what does he do? He sleeps through the tornado. Yeah, I call him. I was like, what were you doing, man? He's like, oh, I didn't even hear I slept.
Well, I guess, I mean,
That's all right.
it all turned out
At least
okay.
it wasn't
Yeah.
too terribly close to him, right? But
That's
yeah,
good.
so hopefully they can get that mess cleaned up and start getting life back to normal, right? 34 degrees right now in Great Falls as we head off to the eastern plains. A little bit more mild to start things off in northeastern Montana. Any remaining moisture in the state's going to track off into the Dakotas. High pressure will build today. That's going to allow for sunny skies and temperatures right on track with normal. However, a little bit windy today. We'll show you that momentarily. 61 for the high, 62 in the capital, looking at the mid to low 60s in northeastern Montana. Wind today, a little bit of a talking point. The wind gust forecast. We'll see gusts at about 20 to 30 miles per hour around the noon hour today, 30 to 40 in north central Montana. Pretty strong wind is going to take us to this afternoon or through the afternoon as well before kind of tapering off overnight. Not bad by, you know, central Montana standards, but still enough to mess with the hair, you know, that crazy flow we got going after all the barber shops are closed down, right? 33 tonight in Great Falls, 37 degrees in the capital, looking at the high 30s tonight for overnight lows in northeastern Montana. So hopefully won't have to throw a blanket on any of the flowers tonight, but kind of keep an eye on that. We'll obviously update those temperatures as the day progresses. Tomorrow, a little bit of wind, not much though for central Montana. Really the stronger wind gusts are going to be more into central and eastern Montana tomorrow, and then again tapering off overnight. We'll see daytime highs continue to climb a little bit tomorrow, back into the mid-60s for a good chunk of central Montana. A little bit cooler, though, as we head off into eastern Montana. Wednesday's highs, not bad. Actually starting warm, close to room temperature, about 68 degrees in Great Falls. Same story for the capital, and 70s throughout the eastern plains. Reason behind that, again, that nice ridge of high pressure that's starting to build today. We're up to Wednesday now. That high pressure is going to move out late in the day. We're going to see some Pacific moisture move in, meet up with some colder air out of Canada. Likely going to see some lingering showers into Thursday morning as well. Those will kind of taper off as the day plays out. More high pressure will rebuild as we head toward the weekend. There is a possibility of a little shot of moisture on Saturday. Doesn't look to be overly bad though as of right now. So here's how all of that plays out over the next 7 days. 61 and windy today, mostly sunny tomorrow, continuing to warm up as Wednesday rolls around, with probably some afternoon thunderstorms and showers lingering into Thursday as well. For the capital, not bad today, 62 degrees. Again, showers and thunderstorms return Wednesday into Thursday, and then the mid-60s to wrap up the work week. Shannon?
It's Jason, 6:20 now on your Monday. Coming up on Montana this morning, as if 2020 hasn't been weird enough already, a dangerous species of hornet has been found in the northwest U.S. Well, details on the murder hornet, yes, that's its name, coming up next.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
It is 6:25 on your Monday morning. This is an image that'll get you going this morning.
Surprise!
Yeah, a dangerous species of hornet has been spotted in the U.S. Get this, their actual name, called murder hornets. They're native to Asia. At more than 2 inches long, they're the world's largest.
Now, beekeepers in Washington state have reported piles of dead bees with their heads ripped off.
Ugh.
Sounds rather morbid.
Yeah.
Now, this is the country's bee population has been dwindling. She can't even spit it out. The murder hornets are also dangerous to humans. Scientists say that multiple stings are deadly to people, even if they're not actually allergic to bee stings. Agricultural officials are hoping to contain the murder hornet to Washington state and wipe it out. But if you do see one, make sure you report it. And they say don't try to kill it yourself, but I'm killing it myself.
Jason's not following those guidelines.
I'm going to be walking around with a can of Raid from now on. Like,
yeah, that's just, you know.
Instead of bear spray, I'm going to have like a can of Raid holstered
off
to the side.
Yeah,
ready to go.
Oh, par for the course for 2020, though.
No kidding.
Really?
If it's not a stupid virus, now it's a
poor Washington
bee.
dealing with trying to contain coronavirus.
They were the first with corona. Well, one of the first with coronavirus, too.
You know, Seattle's been a hot spot there, too. Now they're trying to wipe out this deadly hornet. Man.
Love it. Yeah.
Taking the stay-at-home order to a whole new level
no kidding.
there.
Yeah, the hornet definitely is going to keep me at home. Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts about that. On the weather scene here this morning, looking at the mid-30s throughout central Montana, a little bit more mild in northeastern Montana. We'll continue to see clearing skies across the board. If you did want to do a little fishing today, not a bad one to do so. Belt Creek today, fishing forecast, looking at the low 60s in that area. Water height along Belt Creek, looking at just shy of 4 feet. And cubic feet per second sitting at about 658. That hasn't changed much over the weekend, but we saw a pretty drastic ramp up of that stream flow from last week. And Holter Lake right now, we're looking at not bad conditions. Again, kind of cool, about low 60s, a little bit of wind in that area. As for the Missouri below the dam, about 3.5 feet, and cubic feet per second there, about 5,090, so a little bit faster, obviously, coming out of the dam, but not a bad day. Get out and enjoy it.
All right, there's more news ahead. Don't go away. Montana This Morning continues right after this. It's 6:30 now on this Monday, May 4th, 2020. Happening now, some encouraging news on the coronavirus front to start off our week. Plus, phase 1 reopenings continue. Bars, restaurants, and casinos are back in business. We'll have a look at what it means for them to reopen with restrictions. And coming up later, as if 2020 hasn't been weird enough already, a dangerous species of hornet has been found in the northwest U.S. We'll have details on the murder hornet coming up.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is Montana This Morning from Montana's news leader.
And good morning to you. I'm Shannon Newth, filling in once again for Keely. I'll be with you for quite a while here on Montana This Morning as Keely works on some special projects. Joined as always by Jason Laird as we're kicking off our Monday morning.
Yeah.
And something I noticed this morning, it's getting lighter and lighter,
Yes.
earlier and earlier. I'm loving the view.
I know, yeah, it's a beautiful morning out there. The only downfall is it stays a lot lighter later, which for us, well, you like it. You like doing the whole fall asleep to the sun thing, not so much. It's got to be like dark for me to...
I know I'm in the minority there with that. Most people need it totally pitch black.
Right. But no, other than some wind, it feels a lot colder out there than what it actually is. It feels like 25 degrees. We're actually sitting at 34, though. Reason behind that, some cold wind kind of whipping through the area this morning. We'll see daytime highs right on track with average in Great Falls, 61 today. Warming up, kind of a slow warm up today, a little bit more mild than again this afternoon. Opportunity Bank ICAM. Doesn't feel quite as cold here. Looking at 37 air temperature, feels like about 33, not quite as much wind. 62 is the daytime high for the capital today. Forecast headlines moving forward. We're going to see mild but breezy conditions and warming through Wednesday with a couple of midweek storms en route. We'll tell you about them shortly. Shannon?
All right, thanks, Jason. We'll see you soon. We're starting off this morning with some good news. There are no new coronavirus cases to report, and more than 400 people have recovered from the virus, leaving us with 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases. Only 2 are currently active. It's a similar story in Lewis and Clark County. They have 16 confirmed cases, but only 2 are active. Toole County has 29 reported cases. Glacier County has 6. Today, phase 1 reopenings continue for bars, restaurants, casinos, and breweries back open for business once again with some restrictions. Some of those restrictions limited to 50% capacity. Some of those tables have to be spaced out a little bit more. And also you'll notice this closing time. It's now 11:30 at night. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt spoke with 2 Great Falls bars about their plans to keep customers socially distanced.
Over a month of no social drinking in Montana is about as uncommon as the pandemic the nation is facing. Ask any bar owner in Great Falls and they'll tell you.
We've never been in this position before.
I have great-grandparents and grandparents who were in the bar business, and nobody has ever seen anything like this.
Bar manager of 8 years, Diana Olson, and bar managing legacy, Lexi Jones, are both learning to adapt to a barred bar scene.
We're just gonna play it by ear. I'm not really sure how this is all gonna work out.
There's been lots of changes, lots of talks, lots of setting tables, moving them, trying to do what's best for our customers, and also get us open.
Both managers are committed to playing by the rules. Cowboys bar customers will complete a temperature and ID check upon entry and stay seated while in the facility, drinking from plastic cups throughout the night.
I do have signage. I do have signage with the rules, the new stipulations and regulations, our new hours, and we're going to be really strict about it.
Do bar goers will also use plastic cups and will sanitize their hands after each drink order and sit while in the building, either at a table by the bar, outside on the patio, or in the casino.
We have buckets with bleach sanitizer. Anytime anybody's moving or leaving a table, their spot will be sanitized. And we also have hand sanitizers for all of our employees, so as they take a drink order, they're actually going to sanitize everybody's hands.
But it won't be all rules and rigmarole. There will be mingling.
People don't have to stay with the groups they came with, so we will ask people to get to a table and sit down, but they may be seated with people that they didn't come with.
And music.
I was thinking about, instead of doing karaoke, maybe doing just DJs so people could at least request music that they want to hear.
After more than a month of empty bar stools, these bar managers are excited to see their regulars return.
A lot of them have been contacting me, messaging me, are you open? So I expect we'll get quite a few people back.
I know a lot of people want to get back out and see some faces and get a chance to kind of socialize a little bit. So we're really excited for that, and we know that a lot of our loyal patrons are excited too.
In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
According to Governor Bullock's phase 1 reopening guidelines, all bars will have to close by 11:30 and follow social distancing guidelines. We have more details on all of these stipulations on our website. Some Montana gym owners have started a petition to attempt to convince Governor Bullock to allow gyms to reopen under phase 1. One gym owner from Billings created the petition about a week ago and already has close to 5,000 signatures. MTN spoke with the manager at Crossroads Fitness Center, a supporter of the petition. Crossroads argues that gyms can implement the necessary safety guidelines to help prevent further spread of the virus. Changes include eliminating some equipment to make sure clients are away from each other when working out. They will also mark floors to indicate proper social distancing and have temperature checks at the front door.
Where do you go where you grab a sterilization bottle and sterilize your own piece of equipment? Only a gym. I have not seen anybody at this grocery stores or anywhere else sterilizing anything after I touch it. So I just feel like this is a safe place, sterile place to be.
Under the current plan, gyms are not allowed to open until phase 2. The number of confirmed coronavirus cases has passed the 3.5 million mark worldwide, with nearly 250,000 deaths. In a televised virtual town hall from the Lincoln Memorial, President Trump said he thinks a vaccine will be available by the end of the year. U.S. public health officials have said a vaccine is likely in about a year to 18 months. The president also said his administration will release a report this week detailing what he was briefed on in early January as the virus was emerging. Today, 100 U.S. senators will return to the nation's capital as the Senate reopens. Meanwhile, the House will stay closed as Washington remains a coronavirus hotspot. Senators will gather for the first time since March, a move that critics say not only poses a risk to lawmakers, but also to the cooks, cleaners, police officers, and other workers who help keep the lights on at the Capitol. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says lawmakers need to stand together for the American people and will keep a 6-foot distance. The nation's nursing homes have accounted for 20,000 coronavirus deaths, and now they're hoping to stop a potential flood of lawsuits. There's a lobbying effort for states to grant homes emergency protection from claims of inadequate care. The lobbying group says the COVID crisis created unpredictable circumstances beyond their control. They list shortages of protective equipment and testing. Right now, there are at least 15 states that provide some sort of protection for nursing homes and long-term care facilities. The time now is 6:37 here on your Monday morning. Coming up on Montana This Morning, a new way to connect with Montana's agricultural community. We'll tell you about a new podcast.
And later in your weather forecast, if you're looking to fire up the Revan Rood and head out on the lake, well, Fort Peck not looking too bad today. Mostly sunny skies. The downfall is some wind in that area out of the west, about 14 to 18 miles per hour, a little bit gusty at times. We'll have more on your detailed forecast coming up shortly.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
It's 20 minutes now to the top of the hour, 6:40 here on your Monday. Farmers who are interested in growing pulse crops now have an opportunity to learn more through a new podcast series titled Growing Pulse Crops. With more on what the podcast series will be covering and how farmers can download it, here's the Montana Ag Network's Russell Nimitz.
Well, as more farmers across our region become interested in raising pulse crops like chickpeas, peas, and lentils, the Pulse Crop Working Group saw an opportunity to reach more farmers through a new podcast series titled Growing Pulse Crops.
We got together with a group of farmers who are all members of the Northern Pulse Growers Association, as well as USA Dry Pea and Lentil Council, and we wanted to know from them, what's the best format in which to deliver, research findings, and just bring this information to a broader audience. And, to be honest, the Pulse Crops podcast wasn't even on my mind at the time. That had not even occurred to me, even though I listen to and enjoy several different podcast series. But that was something people, the farmers in particular, brought up, that they listen to podcasts, on long drives or, in the tractor. And they find that to be a really great way to listen to information.
Hosted by Tim Hamerick, the series will follow pulse crop farmers through the growing season and dive into the research that's helping them through some of the challenges they face.
We're talking about issues and decisions you're making kind of as the season goes. So the episodes are designed to be concurrent with what folks are doing during the growing season. So right now, we're talking about the pre-emergence herbicides, we're talking about seed treatment choices, and we're also visiting with growers during the series so we can bring in, folks that maybe are new to pulse crops to hear what other farmers are doing.
Now, if you'd like to receive the podcast on your cell phone, all you have to do is subscribe to the series through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or, of course, any other podcatcher app. In Billings, Russell Nimitz, MTN News.
Farmers can also learn more about the new podcast by visiting growingpulsecrops.com. We'll take a look at this. A dangerous species of hornet has now been spotted in the U.S. They're actually called murder hornets. They're native to Asia. At more than 2 inches long, they're the world's largest. Beekeepers in Washington state have reported piles of dead bees with their heads ripped off. This as the country's bee population dwindles. The murder hornets are also dangerous to humans. Scientists say multiple stings are deadly to people, even if they're not allergic. Agricultural officials are hoping to contain that murder hornet to Washington state and wipe it out. If you do see one, though, report it, and they say don't try to kill it yourself.
Walking around town with a can of Raid holstered off my hip. All right, on the weather scene here this morning. Plenty of sunshine to go around. It is kind of chilly, though. It feels a lot colder out there than what it actually is, kind of windy. We'll continue to see those winds ramp up today as you notice the hour-by-hour forecast. Here in Great Falls, clear skies this morning. Little bit of sunshine here this afternoon as well, but getting very windy in the capital. Wind ramping up today as well. Not quite as bad, though. We'll take a closer look at your forecast next. 46 now on your Monday. I was thinking it was Tuesday
Monday.
there, but
I'm
getting ahead of myself.
Too.
Yeah, Monday morning. Well, right now people are preparing and taking precautions to make sure that their homes and communities are safe in the event of a wildfire.
Yeah, it's starting to be that season again.
Yeah.
MTN's Alexia Aguayo has more on what you could do to protect your home.
During the coming months, Helena and the neighboring communities may be faced with the challenge of managing wildfires during a pandemic. Representatives from the Tri-County Fire Safe Working Group and the City of Helena Fire Department are concerned that the upcoming wildfire season, coupled with the COVID-19 crisis, may test the capacity of local disaster management services and firefighting forces.
Wildfire is a big issue in the state of Montana and across the country, and it's a real risk to life and property. And we need everybody's help, to join in and help prepare and mitigate fuels so that the fires don't burn as hot, they don't burn, as large, they don't spread as fast, and it gives us more time to actually get the fires put out.
According to the City of Helena Fire, mowing down and removing any dead vegetation can help protect your home from wildfire. Also, replacing any bark mulch within 5 feet of your home with rock mulch.
A lot of people are at home, and this is a great time to take advantage of that time at home and get a lot of this work done around your home and get those things cleaned up.
In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTM News.
All right, again, it's hard to imagine that we're in that season already, especially with everything else going on in the world.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, now we also have to prepare for wildfire season.
Right, yeah, and I mean, the wind, that's the biggest factor here in central Montana. You get a little vegetation, dries out so darn quick. I mean, the mountain snowpack's sitting pretty good, but, if it warms up too quickly, then you just got flooding. It doesn't really do us any good for soil conditions. All right, currently sitting at about 34 degrees in Great Falls, 37 in the capital, mid-30s throughout the eastern plains. Big talking point today is going to be high pressure. As you notice, hardly a cloud in the sky. Going to be a very nice one. The trade-off, though, is kind of windy today. We'll see daytime highs at about 61 degrees in Great Falls, 62 in the capital, a few mid-60s as we head off into the eastern plains. Haze sitting in today at about 57 degrees. A little bit more in the way of wind again around the noon hour. Gusts at about 30 to 40 miles per hour in north central Montana, 20 to 30 in and around Great Falls. Those stronger winds will stick with us. I know it's not bad by central Montana standards, but still enough wind to kind of, mess up the hair, that sort of thing. We'll see the wind die down, though, as the day progresses here this evening. Overnight lows a little bit chilly. We're going to be right on the border of having to throw a blanket on the flowers, maybe if you've got the garden in, that sort of thing. 33 in Great Falls, 32 in Lewistown, and looking at the high 30s in northeastern Montana. Tomorrow, central Montana is not going to be too windy. That wind is going to shift more into eastern Montana, about 20 to 30 miles per hour in Lewistown, and again, a little bit gusty there into south central Montana as well. Tomorrow we'll continue to see those temperatures warming up as we near Wednesday. Tuesday, 65 in Great Falls, 67 in the capital, a couple of 70s. Check it out over in Idaho, pushing 80 degrees there. Beautiful weather, and that's all thanks to this building high pressure ridge. Still warmer on Wednesday, pushing the 70s pretty much all across the board. Reason for that, area of high pressure. That ridge is going to break down, though, on Wednesday. That's going to open up the door for a little bit of North Pacific moisture to move in. That's also going to meet up with a cold front on Wednesday night into Thursday. That's going to drop down out of Canada. Can't rule out some mountain snow, but really most of it should just be kind of a cold rain throughout a good chunk of the state. But then on Friday, high pressure is going to rebuild across the state. That's going to allow for temperatures to get back on track with average. So 61 today, a little bit warmer Tuesday into Wednesday. Afternoon showers and thunderstorms likely on Wednesday with some lingering showers on Thursday, and then warming up gradually as we head through the weekend. As for the capital, 62 today. Again, showers and thunderstorms likely Wednesday afternoon and evening. Some lingering showers on Thursday and a pretty mellow weekend on tap. Shannon.
Thanks, Jason. Time now 6:51 on your Monday. Some grocery stores are limiting the amount of meat shoppers can buy, and some orange growers are questioning the approval of Chinese imports. Jane King has those stories and more.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service did say that it would authorize the importation of 5 types of citrus from China. Citrus growers aren't happy as they have suffered from hurricanes and disease and say they're already hurting without having more citrus on the market. USDA scientists believe the 5 varieties can be imported safely from China. ExxonMobil has posted its first loss in decades as oil giants signal trouble ahead for the industry. Exxon and Chevron slashed spending and projected a difficult year ahead due to the pandemic. Shoppers are encountering limits on how much meat they can buy at the supermarket. This as the meat industry tries to return to normal after roughly 3% of employees at affected meat and poultry processing plants contracted coronavirus. The companies may have to play catch up because of falling livestock slaughter rates. For example, cattle slaughter fell 37% last week compared to the same week a year ago, according to the Ag Department. Well, the U.S. renewable energy industry is reeling from the pandemic, which has delayed construction and put thousands of skilled laborers out of work. In lockdown California, some local agencies that issue permits for new work closed temporarily, and some solar companies furloughed installers as well. As many as 120,000 jobs in solar and 35,000 in wind could be lost, according to trade groups. From New York, I'm Jane King with your Ag and Energy Report.
Stock futures are lower, pointing to declines at the opening bell on Wall Street on Friday. The Dow dropped 622 points. The Nasdaq tumbled 284. S&P 500 lost 81 points. On the earnings front, 150 S&P 500 companies are expected to report results this week. So far, it's the weakest reporting season in more than a decade. Disney's first quarter numbers are due after tomorrow's close. While the pandemic is believed to be bolstering its streaming platform, Disney's theme parks division is shut down indefinitely. And billionaire investor Warren Buffett held Berkshire Hathaway's annual shareholder meeting on Saturday virtually. The annual event usually draws thousands of Buffett devotees to Omaha, Nebraska, but this time it was live streamed. Though many businesses have taken a hit in the first quarter, Buffett stuck to his mantra, saying to invest for the long term. He also said avoid using credit cards like a piggy bank.
Coming up, we talk to social workers putting themselves at risk to help children in abusive homes stay safe during the pandemic. Plus, small business owners and their workers share their concerns about the Payroll Protection Program. Coming up on CBS This Morning.
Let's get you out the door now with the day's top stories on this Monday, May 4th, 2020. There are no new coronavirus cases to report, and more than 400 people have recovered, leaving us with 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases, but only 2 are currently active. It's a similar story in Lewis and Clark County, where there are 16 confirmed cases, but again, just 2 active. Toole County has 29 reported cases. Glacier County has 6. Today, Phase 1 reopenings continue. Restaurants, bars, and casinos, as well as breweries, can all reopen for business. Owners and managers are trying to figure out the best ways to reopen while still following social distancing guidelines. According to Governor Bullock's Phase 1 reopening, all bars will have to close by 11:30 and follow those guidelines. Meanwhile, some Montana gym owners have started a petition in an attempt to convince the governor to allow gyms to reopen under Phase 1. One gym owner from Billings created the petition about a week ago. There's already 5,000 signatures. MTN spoke with the manager at Crossroads Fitness Center in Helena, a supporter of the petition. Crossroads argues that gyms can implement the necessary safety guidelines to help prevent further spread of the virus. Changes include eliminating some equipment and making sure clients are away from each other when working out. They would also mark the floors to indicate proper social distancing and have temperature checks at the front door.
And it's that time of the week, Mug Shot Monday. Had to throw this one back in.
Yeah, I like it.
It's hard to see, but on the mug it says, Jason, you're being watched. Yeah, that's pretty typical out hunting. You know, a deer watching me. I have no idea where it's at. And yeah, no need for Google. My wife already knows the answer.
You should keep that one in mind.
Yeah, right. Not going to argue with that. Mustache mug. This was a winner.
Mustache Monday, Mugshot Monday.
Yeah, I know. Say that 5 times fast. This one's pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure. That's sweetgrass in the background? Not 100% sure what mountain range that is in the background there. This was our winner last week, wasn't it? Right?
Yep,
this
last
is all
week.
these Special Olympics employees, which is super cool. And yeah, pretty darn cool there for a little dog with some glasses action. If you missed it, it was Dwight Schrute there on the mug as well.
I like that with the fireplace there.
Yep. And this cat has more issues than Vogue. That's outstanding. I love
on
it.
That cat's
But
face.
unfortunately, there can only be one winner. So today's winner of Morning Light Coffee is Cassie Johnson. Big
the Dwight
congratulations
Schrute dog,
there.
I love it.
That's too funny. Got Dwight Schrute on the mug with the glass, the whole 9 yards. I'm wondering how long that dog had to sit still to
It's tolerating that pretty well.
do that. Yeah, right. Well, one more quick check of that forecast here before we get you out the door. Not a bad one on tap today. 61, but kind of windy throughout the area. Showers and thunderstorms returning Wednesday, and a couple of lingering showers into Thursday as well. Next couple of days in the capital, 62 today, warming up through Wednesday with afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Showers continue likely on Thursday, but overall should be a pretty nice next weekend on tap. So good news there, but pretty mellow, typical spring week on tap.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks for making us a part of your Monday, and happy birthday, Tim McGonigal, today.
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
I've never backed down from big fights. I'm a fifth-generation Montanan, raising the sixth, and there's nothing I won't do to protect Montana's way of life. As its chief legal counsel, Governor Bullock trusted me to protect our public lands, and we beat the Trump administration to keep dark money out of Montana's elections. I'm Rafe Graybill. As your Attorney General, I'll protect Montanans with pre-existing conditions, crack down on price gouging on prescription drugs, and keep fighting for the Montana we all call home.
Good Monday morning. I'm Shannon Newth. It is May 4th, 2020. We're starting this morning with some good news. There are no new coronavirus cases to report, and more than 400 people have recovered, leaving us with 51 active cases statewide. Cascade County has 15 confirmed cases. Only 2 are currently active. It's a similar story in Lewis and Clark County, where they have 16 confirmed cases, but just like Cascade County, only 2 are active. Toole County has 29. Glacier County has 6 reported cases. Today, Phase 1 reopenings continue. Restaurants, bars, casinos, and breweries will all be open for business once again with restrictions. Bar owners and managers are figuring out the best ways to reopen while still following social distancing guidelines. Cowboys Bar in Great Falls will do a temperature and ID check of customers when they walk in and have people stay seated in the facility, as well as use plastic cups. Over at the Do Bar, people will also use plastic cups and will sanitize their hands after each drink order and will sit while in the building, either at a table by the bar, outside, on the patio, or in a casino. According to Governor Bullock's Phase 1 reopening guidelines, all bars will have to close by 11:30 p.m. and follow those social distancing guidelines. You can read more about the stipulations on our website. Meanwhile, some Montana gym owners have started a petition in an attempt to convince the governor to allow gyms to reopen under Phase 1. One gym owner from Billings created the petition about a week ago. It already has close to 5,000 signatures. MTN spoke with the manager at Crossroads Fitness Center, a supporter of the petition. Crossroads argues that gyms can implement the necessary safety guidelines to help prevent further spread of the virus. Changes include eliminating some equipment to make sure clients are away from each other when working out. They will also make marks to indicate proper social distancing on the floors and have temperature checks at the front door.
Where do you go where you grab a sterilization bottle and sterilize your own piece of equipment? Only a gym. I have not seen anybody at this grocery stores or anywhere else sterilizing anything after I touch it. So I just feel like this is a safe place, sterile place to be.
Under the current plan, gyms are not allowed to open until Phase 2. Well, it's time now to get a check of our forecast for this Monday and the week ahead. For that, here's Jason.
Hello, everybody. Well, overall, your forecast headlines, mild and breezy here today. We're going to see temperatures continuing to climb through Wednesday, but a couple of showers and thunderstorms returning Wednesday night into Thursday. Overall, 61 for your daytime high in Great Falls today, 62 in the capital, a couple of mid-60s throughout the eastern plains, haze at about 57 today. Wind is going to be the talking point. Wind gusts at about 30 to 40 in north central and along the high line today, 20 to 30 in central Montana. That wind will continue this afternoon and let up overnight and then shift a little bit further east overnight. We'll see overnight lows at about 33 in Great Falls, 37 in the capital, high 30s in northeastern Montana. Again, tomorrow that wind is going to kick up more into central and then eastern Montana, not likely as strong as today. And again, most of that making its way off into the eastern plains. Tomorrow continuing to warm up, 65 in Great Falls, and will be even warmer on Wednesday at 68. Same story for the capital with a few 70s throughout the eastern plains. Over the next next 7 days, here's what we're tracking. Windy today and 61, warming up through Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms returning late into the day. Some lingering showers likely on Thursday. Going to clear up, though, as we head toward the weekend. Can't rule out a shower on Saturday, but overall, pretty nice one on tap. 62 today in the capital, warming through Wednesday and a little bit cooler on Thursday with a few area showers.